Welcome to Grapple FK, everyone. Hope you had a good time watching the fights yesterday, but today we are going to talk about something very, very important. Khamzat Chimaev. Everybody should have heard that name right now. Well, about now. If you haven't, he's a striker from Sweden, originally from Chechnya. Well, striker slash wrestler, I should say. And he looks very, very good so far. The main thing we'll be talking about, which is very interesting because I don't think we've been in this scenario before where someone's been hopping between welterweight and middleweight, is who is this guy going to face next? Because apparently, well, it's not apparently, it's come from Dana White himself. He has a 5-fight round headliner lined up in Vegas, but we don't know who the opponent is. So this is a very strange situation. And I haven't seen this before. He's already broken the record for the quickest turnaround for 2 fights and 3 fights in the UFC. What do you think, Andrew? What you've seen so far and all the hype?
My first reaction to what you just said is, for that 5-round main event in Vegas, what weight is it going to be at?
I believe it's at 170.
Okay.
I believe it's at 170. But this again is such a strange thing to be happening. Someone jumping between 170 and 185. And let's be honest, not really having tailored fight camps. He didn't have a tailored fight camp for Gerald. He was told quite late. He found out about his visa late, and then he found out about the opponent late. Mm-hmm. Okay, Gerald isn't the best fighter in the world. He's a top 30-ish fighter. But, you know, still pretty impressive. He is incredibly confident. And, you know, he's basically called everyone out. And that's pissed quite a lot of people off. But that seems to be the new thing with a newcomer to the UFC who gets 3-4 wins under their belt. They just call everyone out. So, for instance, yesterday he tweeted, after Adesanya TKO'd Costa in the second, Khamzat tweeted, give me the skinny guy. But they had a little bit of beef going on for the last 3-4 weeks. Adesanya called him rat lip, which Conor McGregor also did.
Yeah.
Referring to which I thought was a cleft lip, but it's actually an injury that he sustained when he was younger, probably fighting. So, yeah, I mean, if we look at I think a good place to start is, where is he in the rankings now? Because he beat John Phillips in his first fight, which was at 185. 10 days later, he smashed Reese McKee at 170, who was a debutant, a Cage Warriors champion at 170. And then, I don't know, 50, 60 days later, he KO'd Mearshot in 17 seconds, which we predicted on Instagram and in our video that a KO was possible. Didn't think he'd be first rounder, to be honest, at 185 again. So he's ranked, according to MMA rankings.com, at 17 in welterweight, so just outside of the top 15.
Yeah, to be honest,
we've got a few Bellator fighters and stuff in here as well.
So being ranked at number 17 being ranked at number 17 unofficially in the welterweight division when you've had 1 fight, I think is ridiculous.
2.
Yes.
2.
Yeah. Not
one was a debutant. You're right.
But he's only had one fight at welterweight. He's had 2 at middleweight.
Oh yeah, he's only had 1 fight. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous enough at middleweight when he's had 2, but it's even more ridiculous when he's only had 1 at welterweight. Sorry. So I get it. He looks really dominant. He's won in, you know, spectacular fashion. But, you know, to have him unofficially that's ranked 17, I think is premature. Now the fight that you talked about. It's very odd
how they've. Yeah.
So yeah, the fight that you talked about, the headlining main event, the 5-round fight. There was talk of him fighting Damian Maia, who is ranked number 6 or 7?
In the
that's
UFC, he's ranked 7. Yeah,
yeah,
you can check the
that's
UFC rankings here.
yeah, that's a huge jump up. So he's 6 actually. He's number 6. That's a huge jump up. Um, I just don't know whether.
Yeah, he's 6.
Yeah, I mean, you have one fight in one division, one weight division, and then you're immediately fighting the number 6 guy. That doesn't make a whole load of sense to me. I
Well,
understand that not a lot of people want to fight him, and that
mm,
there are issues with the number of people actually available to fight at the moment. But I think
yeah.
that's premature.
Well, I mean, I think is something that should be added to that is, and one of the reasons why GM3 Mearshot was pissed off was that he was apparently double booked. So he was due to fight Mearshot and then Damian Maia on Yas Island. However, the Damian Maia thing seems to have fallen through for whatever reason.
I'm guessing because Damian Maia
I suspect
didn't want it.
that Damian Maia's people, I don't think Damian Maia himself, but I suspect Damian Maia's people wouldn't want to fight him now after that performance. I know it's me jumping on the hype train, and I'm riding in first class. I have to say,
Yeah.
DC's the conductor of the train, but I'm riding in first class. But if you KO a 185 pounder when you're naturally a 170 pounder in 17 seconds, who is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist, not as good as Maia, what the fuck is Maia going to do to him? Maia can't box. Well, he can, but he's not great, and he's got no power. He's got 3 KOs on his record. What's he going to do? The fight will go. May Maia try and take him down or pull him into his guard. Khamzat will defend and knock him out. That's what I think. So to me, stylistically, it makes no sense for your last fight to be against a guy who's outside of the top 15 and to potentially get crushed in the first round.
Let me put this to you.
Yeah.
I think we still don't know how good Khamzat Chimaev is on the ground. We still don't know. It's a question mark. Because, the fight against Gerald Mearshot was meant to be
in terms of BJJ.
Yeah, that was meant to, or just grappling in general, on the ground in general. The fight against Gerald Mearshot was meant to be the big test where we learn just how good he really is. Because Gerald Mearshot is a decent grappler. And then that fight was going to tell us, his level. We still don't know. Because those 2 fights against English guys, McKee and John Phillips, told us nothing. Because those are not grapplers in any way, shape, or form. The only reference point we have, aside from those fights, is when he came up against the Russian Sambo champion in... What was that? Brave, yeah.
Brave.
And
Brave MMA, yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't take him down. So I don't know if Khamzat Chimaev is as good as people are saying he is. And but I think there's shades...
guy is... go on, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, there's shades of, we've seen hype trains before, whether it's like Johnny Walker, for example, you get these amazing knockouts in 10, 20 seconds, and people think he's amazing, and then suddenly we come up against, a decent fighter, and suddenly it all changes. I was like, oh, what were we thinking?
Yeah, but Johnny Walker, amazing knockouts, but he never really did anything with technique. Whereas Khamzat's technique seems to be at the moment, albeit against lesser competition, perfect. That 1-2 shot was perfect. His grappling domination of obviously not grappling guys was perfect. The control was perfect. His maneuvers, the way he kept them down,
but the knockout,
the way he took them down.
The knockout against Gerald Mearshot. Gerald Mearshot was kind of skirting around the corner of the cage. Then he kind of stood still like this. He didn't move, and Khamzat just popped him. It's really easy to look phenomenal when your opponent isn't throwing anything at you and isn't moving. I'm not saying he isn't amazing. It's just we still don't know.
Yeah. Didn't you pick up on the slight decoy jab that wasn't actually meant to be a jab, and then the outward step, and then bang, the right hand in? I thought that was really nicely done in terms of pure boxing. I know it's only 17 seconds, and we need to see more of him. but we have also seen him knock two guys out stiff in Brave too. One who was incidentally the
Sambo guy. Yeah.
world combat champion, yeah, who he couldn't get down. You're right. He tried getting him down a few times, couldn't get him down, and then just threw an uppercut from hell, excuse me, and KO'd him. But you're right. We don't know how good he is on the ground. Obviously, the base point we do have, which is applicable to MMA somewhat, is he is from a wrestling background. He won bronze in the national Russian championships, the Russian national junior championships, which if you're winning bronze in that, then if you're coming top 3 in the Russian championships, then you're a serious guy. And then he won the Swedish championship a few times. So he's from a wrestling background. But yeah, you're right. Phillips from Wales and McKee from Northern Ireland do not have a wrestling base. As we've mentioned before in our previous videos, in the UK,
They don't even have a jiu-jitsu base, those guys. They don't have a solid...
Reese McKee base?
I'm sure he does jiu-jitsu, but I mean, at this level, it's
yeah,
we haven't seen it.
I mean, to be honest, even if he does jiu-jitsu, if he does do jiu-jitsu, or as Khamzat says, jitsa, if they're like a purple belt or something, Khamzat's still going to roll through them, because his wrestling is advanced enough to keep the pressure on and smack you in the face loads of times. And a lot of people thought he'd do that to Gerald, who's a black belt. So jiu-jitsu wouldn't have been, unless they were very high level and I don't know, they caught him in something, it wouldn't have stopped him, because I think he's very dominant on the ground, and he's shown that in Brave as well, where he's submitted 4 people. And obviously you can question Brave and the opponents you come across, but Brave has produced a few UFC fighters in the last few months. Otman Azaitar came out of Brave.
This is the thing. You're saying, okay, he's submitted 4 people in Brave.
Yeah.
We will never say that about any other fighter. If any other fighter and they've submitted 4 people in Brave, we'd be like, oh, well, it's irrelevant. But suddenly we're kind of giving Khamzat credit for that. I don't know why we're doing that.
But we did say that. But we did say that when it came to his KO. I specifically said that he's got KO power, and he ended up KOing Mearshot. So,
but loads of people,
if you can submit,
loads of non-knockout artists in the UFC have KO'd people in other organizations. Just because he uppercuts someone in one organization, in a small regional organization comparatively, knocks him out.
Yeah.
And then does it again in the UFC.
2. He's KO'd 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're trying to create a picture.
Bear in mind with one punch. Bear in mind with one punch, and then he knocked a top 30 guy out with one punch. That's quite remarkable in my opinion. And bear in mind that 2 different weight divisions.
Yeah. So how many fights has he had now? 9?
He's had 3 in the UFC. 2 out of 185, as you said, and 1 out of 170. Now,
yeah, he's had 9 fights.
I'm sold.
He's had 9 fights.
Yeah, I'm sold on this guy. I'm sold on this guy. He's had 3 amateur. The reason why I'm sold on him, the only thing I'll tell you what I'm not sold on afterwards, because a lot of people are just saying he's the next champion, and we're talking about serious MMA analysts here. The reason why I'm sold on him is because he's got ground game and he's got hands. And apparently, according to his team, he's the best kickboxer coming from his camp. And that's coming from guys like Gustafsson, Ilir Latifi, and his trainers. There's no point of a heavyweight like Gustafsson saying, I spar with this guy and he fucks me up in training. What is the point of that? That doesn't make any sense.
Guys who train at the same gym, they always hype each other up.
Yeah, but they hype certain people up. They hype certain people up, right? They won't hype the whole gym up. So Gustafsson was saying, watch out for this guy. He gives me serious problems on the feet. Just like DC used to say, watch out for Khabib. When he gets on top of me, it's actually hard for me to get up, and I'm a heavyweight. That shouldn't be happening. Gustafsson was saying, you know, I spar with him standing up and he gives me problems, and he's only been doing this for 3 years. That shouldn't be happening. Which, if you think about it, that really shouldn't be happening. He shouldn't be able to give Gustafsson problems. He's 2 weight divisions below him for one, 2 or 3, and he's only been doing MMA for 3 years. So, but I agree with you.
There you go. He's only been doing
where,
MMA for 3 years. He's been doing MMA for 3 years, and he's had 9 fights.
He has had 9 fights.
We're treating him like, you know, he's the Messiah. Like he's, you know, the next, I don't know, Khabib, the next GSP, the next Anderson.
Yeah,
Silva.
I mean, those comparisons to Khabib have gone, in my opinion, because he's got better hands. Simply, he's got better hands than Khabib. I think he's a different fighter to Khabib. He doesn't even do sambo, for instance. He's a BJJ guy. So I think
my opinion,
they look the same.
My opinion, he's got lucky. He got faced against 2 British guys with literally no ground game. And yeah, we all saw that, and now we think he's amazing. He got lucky with those 2 fights. The Gerald Meerschaert fight, yeah, he won fair and square. I also think maybe Gerald Meerschaert shit the bed.
Yeah, he did. He looked scared. But then again, he does start slow anyway. That's something we brought up in the video too. That Gerald normally starts slow.
I mean, the knockout was legit. It was a great knockout.
Oh yeah, the knockout was
from that.
Amazing knockout. Yeah.
Well, just one thing, Walid. On Tapology, on Khamzat Chimaev's record, there's a rumoured upcoming bout against Stephen Thompson, which I think...
this is what I wanted to get at. So Damian Maia is out of the picture. It's not on anymore. Someone brought Stephen Thompson up to Dana White after the post-fight press conference last night, after the main headliner Izzy v Costa. Dana White said that they've approached Stephen Thompson and they've asked him about it, but Stephen Thompson is more interested in Leon Edwards, which makes sense. There's quite a lot of risk for Stephen Thompson and not a lot of reward, because if he does beat Khamzat, people will just say, well, he only had 3 fights in the UFC. So I can see where Stephen Thompson is coming from.
Yeah, I actually think Stephen Thompson's style is a good matchup for him. Because Stephen Thompson, he's a long-rangey guy. He fights from the outside with a karate style, explodes in and out. I think Khamzat might have some trouble with that. Because he's not going to just stand there.
Yeah, Stephen Thompson is very, very elusive, incredibly elusive. Hard to hit. We saw that in the Till fight. We've seen that in various fights. He's very hard to hit. If they do fight, the one area where Stephen Thompson is obviously not known for is the ground. So I suspect that Khamzat's game plan will be eventually to get him to the ground and try to basically smash his face in, as he would say. But that hasn't been, Dana White said that hasn't been fully confirmed. However, they have approached Stephen Thompson. But I mean, I can't see why he would take that. Can you? Can you see a reason why he would take that? Unless they say, we're going to give you $1 million, which they want.
It would have to be money, yeah.
It will have to be money, right?
It'd be a pay-per-view, though. It'd be a huge pay-per-view. And he'd get paid more than $1 million at the end of the day, yeah.
If they say you can get a segment of the pay-per-view, because, you know, this guy's gone from 20,000 followers in Instagram to 800,000 in just over 2 months. He's trending worldwide. But I don't know. I think you're right. I think that's too high up the rankings for him. I would like to see him fight. I would like to see him fight one of these guys. Maybe Luke, possibly even Robbie Lawler, or Robbie Lawler's tied up. I think he's got a fight coming up with Mike Perry. Neil Magny, I think, will be an interesting fight. Nate Diaz.
Yeah, Neil Magny would be a tough one.
I think he'll fuck Nate Diaz up. I think Diaz has passed it.
Everyone fucks up Nate Diaz now, yeah.
Yeah, but I think you know, someone like Luque or Neil Magny will be good. I think Stephen Thompson is pushing the boat out too fast, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, even
Um,
Anthony Pettis, that could work. Jeff Neal.
yeah, Anthony Pettis. Yeah, Pettis would be a good name to get under the belt, and he's past it as well. Let's be honest. He's not the fighter he used to be.
Yeah, I think Pettis is kind of at the right level there, sort of 14. He's kind of a gatekeeper now. I think he has his
Yeah,
moments.
yeah.
He has his moments. Uh, yeah,
But then
Neil,
we should be assessing middleweight as well, because that's where most of his fights have come.
yeah.
Um,
Chael Sonnen suggested Chris Weidman, which I think is interesting because Chris Weidman's an all-American wrestler.
yeah, that which will cancel Khamzat's wrestling completely out. I don't think they would go to the ground.
Well, would it cancel it out? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I think it would. I think Chris Weidman's wrestling is very high level. Isn't Chris Weidman also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt? Am I remembering that incorrectly?
I think it might be, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he trains with Matt Serra. Matt Serra's all about
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does train with Matt. That would be interesting. That's a good. How's he still so? Why is he so high up? Given that he's lost like 5 or 6 of his last fights.
Yeah, good question. I don't know. The thing is with
That's
middleweight, there's not a whole lot of talent in the middleweight division, I don't think. And this is an interesting point I wanted to talk to you about. Because if Khamzat were to, fight in middleweight, there's a much quicker path to the championship, I think. Because we've had some fights recently that have kind of just pushed people out, pushed contenders out of the running. So, for example, I don't think Martin Vettori is necessarily going anywhere that quickly. I don't think Ian Heinisch is going anywhere that quickly. Edmund Shabazian got the crap beaten out of him by Derek Brunson recently. Uriah Hall is irrelevant. Chris Weidman's irrelevant. Gastelum is basically out of the picture. Brunson is out of the picture. Till is probably at least 2 fights away from a shot at the title. Yoel Romero is out of the picture. Hermansson maybe. Cannonier, he's the next thing. He's the next guy to fight Adesanya.
Cannonier's the dark horse.
He is. He's very good.
And Izzy said he wanted to fight him next.
So there's
you're right,
there's some
and
dead
that's an
names
excellent
there.
point.
Yeah, there's some dead names there that Khamzat could kind of skip over.
Yeah, that's a great point. And someone brought that up on their MMA podcast. I can't remember who it was. Dan Hardy, Bisbing was one of them, but they actually brought that exact point up, that his path to middleweight gold will be a lot easier if he can get past 1 or 2 of the top 15.
Yeah,
for that reason precisely.
Yeah, because if you look at welterweight, there's Jeff Neal, Neil Magny, Michael Chiesa.
Stacked. Chiesa's a good fighter.
Yeah, there's just a few names there he's going to have to get through. And then, of course, you've got George Masvidal, Leon Edwards, Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington, all in the top 5.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If I was him, I wouldn't go anywhere near Masvidal onwards anytime soon. I think even Stephen Thompson's pushing the boat out, but Masvidal, Edwards, Burns, Covington, and Kamaru Usman are, I think, way too dangerous for him at the moment. And also there's no that he wouldn't get those fights.
Yeah, he wouldn't. Yeah.
I don't think they'd pair him up with those guys, but
they just say no, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you're right. Like, sorry.
Those guys would just say no. Yeah.
They just say no, and someone like Jorge will say, I'm too big of a name for him now. Kamaru Usman's champion. Covington's looking to fight Masvidal. Gilbert Burns will say no. Leon Edwards will say no. It looks like Thompson said no. Looks like Maia said no as well. Woodley's out of the picture, let's be honest. Well, even if he gets Woodley,
we could feed Tyron Woodley to Khamzat. That could be funny.
That could be funny. He would get fucked up, I suspect.
Yeah, for sure.
I suspect he would get fucked up.
Actually, Michael Chiesa,
Because
that's
we have to
interesting.
bear in mind he's 6 foot. He's 6'2". That's one thing to bear in mind. That's very tall. That's taller than everyone in that list, bar
That,
Neil Magny.
that's true. Yeah, he's a big guy, a very big
Yeah,
guy for welterweight.
he
Michael
is.
Chiesa
Yeah,
could be a good fight because Michael
um,
Chiesa is a grappler, high level grappler. I'd
yeah,
be
he's a good
curious to
fighter. I
see how
like
that
Michael
plays
Chiesa.
out.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But I think maybe someone like Jeff Neal or Vicente Luque. I'm not sure if Luque has a fight coming up though. I did see something about him. But going on to middleweight, your point is very good because yeah, I mean, for instance, Amari Ahmedov, Marvin Vettori is a beast. Ian Heinisch is pretty decent as well. Brad Tavares, Edmund Shabazian. I mean, immediately, these three here, yeah, Uriah Hall, Chris Weidman. Mate, I have to say a Kevin Lee quote. I see holes in middleweight for him.
Yeah,
I
so
really
do I.
do. I know we haven't seen much of him, but I think he can do very well against some of these guys.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Chris Weidman, Uriah Hall, Brad Tavares, Amari Akhmedov. All of those are fair game.
Yeah,
They're all beatable.
exactly.
They're all irrelevant. They've probably got nothing to do. I don't think they're necessarily going anywhere, and they probably know that. So one of them might just take it. Actually, to be fair, I don't know
And there's
much about
probably a lot of money
Akhmedov.
on the line. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for example, what is Chris Weidman going to do?
Yeah, Chris Weidman, why is he still fighting? That's my question. All right, he
Yeah.
got a win in his last fight, but yeah, I think one of them will take it. I believe they said that it's at 170, the five rounder, the headline, but I don't know. Maybe at 185 they may change it. All I know is it's in around 4 weeks, just after the Yaz Island fights.
Mm.
So he's probably in training camp right now, preparing for it. But obviously he doesn't know who he's preparing for, which is quite annoying. But to be honest, from what I've seen from him, I don't really think he gives a fuck. And I think he can tailor a game plan quite quickly because he is very well rounded. If he was just purely a grappler and had, no one punch KO power, no hands, or the other way around, purely a kickboxer or a boxer with no ground game, it'll be a lot more difficult to get around this puzzle. But I think with him, you could tell him 2 weeks out from, oh, you're fighting Edmund Shabazian at 185 headline, or Chris Weidman, and his guys, some of whom are former UFC fighters, will say, okay, you're fighting Chris Weidman. He's a good wrestler. He's good on the ground. Defend his takedown, strike with him, hurt him, and then get him down and finish him. Something like that. Obviously, it's not as easy as that, but I can see how you can give him 2-3 weeks notice and he could go into something with a game plan. But yeah, it's nuts. I haven't seen this kind of rise to fame for a long time. I wouldn't even compare Johnny Walker to him because there was hype about Johnny Walker, but not to the extent that
Yeah, not
every
like this.
MMA analyst on this guy's ass every fucking hour. Chael Sonnen has done 4 videos about him in the last week.
But do you know
I
why?
haven't seen this
But do you
for
know
a
why
long
there's so
time.
much hype compared to, say, Johnny Walker? It's because all the Russians have got behind him. If he didn't get those 800,000 followers or whatever it is on, Twitter or Instagram, the media wouldn't be talking about him. So I think there's like a false narrative here. I think it's been blown out of proportion, in my opinion. For example,
Do you think it's that, or do you think it's the initial 2 fights in 10 day thing?
I think that's part of it.
Being that record, yeah,
I think
because
that's
that's
part
when
of it.
his following really jumped. And also let's bear in mind that at the moment, the current world climate, people really don't have much to do, and
Yeah.
UFC was the only thing on at that point. At that point when he fought, UFC was the only thing on TV.
But yeah, you've also got to
Um,
bear in mind that Russians really jump on a fighter, and especially I think people from the Caucasus.
yeah, but they've got so many fighters, dude, and he's Swedish as well. They've got so many fucking fighters. Two of the champions are Russian. It's
Yes,
not like they're this fucking unknown country for fighting. They're
yeah,
like the best fighting country in the world almost.
true.
They
It's also the Muslim thing.
potentially have another few champions.
It's also the
Yeah.
Muslims. So the Muslim world has jumped on this as well because there aren't a huge amount of them. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably a more reasonable conclusion to that. It's probably Muslims from Russia that have jumped on it,
Yeah,
and probably Muslims from all over the place. Similar to what happened with Khabib, but Khabib didn't blow up like this initially. Because
yeah,
I remember his first 3, 4 fights, and I think with Khabib it was more because
London
initially in
fight.
his career he wasn't really going for the finish. He was dominating people, he was throwing them around, but he was not finishing people straight away. 1 round, 2 rounds, 17 seconds. He's never done that. So I think that's added to his kind of elevation in fame. I also think that, and this is going to be a weird one, but I also think, given his level of English, he's a trash talker. He's not the best trash talker in the world, but he's
Yeah,
quite rude.
he is
And
rude.
he's not like Khabib. He's not humble.
He's not a
He
nice
kicked off
guy.
with
No,
Kevin Holland and he said, "Clean my room."
that's
he
funny. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
exactly. He
He
went
just
up to Kevin
assumed
Holland and said, "Clean my room."
he
Yeah.
assumed that he was the
So,
cleaner. Yeah,
yeah.
that's funny. So he is a genuine douchebag. Like he is a dick.
Yeah, he's a pretty big douchebag. Um, and he's not. I don't think he's a bad guy, but he's certainly not a good guy. He's not someone who's here to, to build up the Khamzat Foundation and help kids all across the world and go to Africa and open schools and stuff. He may do that at some point, but at the moment, I think he wants to really genuinely hurt people, which is his job. Fair enough. Because another thing I'd like to bring up is John Anik asked him after he knocked Gerald Mearshart out, "What were you thinking?" And his immediate remarks were, "Just to kill him," which is not a normal thing to say.
No, no. But as we know, he's from Chechnya. He's probably of
Yeah.
an age where he grew up in the 90s with the civil war against Russia.
Yeah, he saw probably the Second War. Yeah, the Second War with Russia. He probably lived through that when he was younger. Because I
Yeah.
think the First War happened in 91 to 93, and then the Second War happened around 96, 98. So when would he have been born? He would have been born in
So he's 26, 96?
96, 97. He would have been born. So he would have been born
Sorry,
just around the
94.
time.
94.
He was born in 94.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So he would have been about 3 during the Second War, or 2, if I'm getting my history right here. But whatever, he would have grown up in the aftermath of war, when Chechnya was not the Chechnya we see today with high-rise buildings and Kadyrov rolling around in Lamborghinis and so on. That was not the case back then. So he's probably seen some shit. Let's put it that way. He's probably seen some shit. But yeah, I mean, just to wrap this up, this is a very interesting one. I haven't seen this for a long time, the kind of hype around him, and I'm interested to see who he fights now. I'm very interested because I think that could play a key factor in elevating him even more. For instance, as you said, if he gets Chris Weidman or Brad Tavares 5 rounds and he's got 3-4 weeks to train for it, and he smashes through them, or he beats them, then this guy is with his following, he's 2 fights away from a shot at the title.
He is, yeah. He is literally probably 2 shots away from the title, yeah. One thing, if he beats Chris Weidman or Brad Tavares, who are ranked 9 and 12 respectively. If he beats one of those guys, for example, I will say yes, he's not a hype train. He is very, very good.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference between, beating a Brad Tavares or a Chris Weidman and beating, let's say, a Robert Whittaker or a Janet Cannonier or an Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, that's elite level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like how far are we going to take this? Like there's still a long way to go in terms of the ability before we talk about him being a challenger for the title.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll come with time. The stuff that he's doing now, calling out Izzy, calling out Costa, stuff like that. I mean, this is what Izzy did when he joined the UFC. This is what Conor McGregor did when he joined the UFC. They were immediately saying, I'm the new champion. I'm the new thing. I'm the new shiny toy. Look at me. I'm going to be champion. So to an extent, he has to do that. And in another way, these guys are incredibly confident. These elite fighters, and I'm not saying that Khamzat is elite just yet. I think he's got the components to be elite. That's what I've seen so far. And if he does beat one of the top 15 in a dramatic fashion, then I would say that he probably will be elite in the next year or two because he's only 26. But I mean, that's what I get from these guys. It's extreme confidence.
Yeah.
And even someone humble like Khabib Nurmagomedov will say, he'll still say, I'm the best in the world and no one's on my level, but in a nice way. But yeah, you're right. The distinction between Chris Weidman and Israel Adesanya is huge. It's levels, as we saw last night. There's as Izzy said, there's levels to this game.
For sure, yeah, definitely. Still can't believe bet on Paulo Costa. No offense.
I actually included Izzy in the ACCA in the come. Sorry,
okay.
but I bet on Paulo Costa.
So you sold out, man. I thought you were committed to Paulo Costa, and you cheated on him at the last minute.
I really wanted Costa to win because people have probably started to figure this out. I am the #1 hater in the world of Izzy. I'm pretty sure when Izzy said last night after his fight, this is for all the haters out there, when he was pointing at the camera, I think he was directly pointing at me. That's what I like to think, because I don't like the guy. I really don't like him.
Why?
I can't fucking stand him. Just don't like him. I stopped liking him a lot. Well, I didn't really like him to begin with that much. He's a loudmouth. I don't like the whole anime Naruto nerd stuff. And what really drove me over the edge is when he called out my boy John Jones. No one is saying anything bad about John Jones on my watch. He's my all-time favorite fighter. When he called him out and said, I'm going to knock you out, and then started taking the piss out of him, which John Jones brilliantly responded to by saying, why don't you just twerk for the guys, which was a very good response. That's when I went off Izzy. So I knew in the back of my mind, I'm not stupid. That was his 100th professional bout. He's 75-5 in kickboxing, 5-1 in boxing, 20-0 in MMA. I know the stats, but I just don't like him. So I wanted Costa to beat him. I actually thought Costa had a chance, but clearly he did not. I don't know what happened, to be honest. He
didn't turn up. He didn't turn up. Yeah, he shit the bed.
Turn up at all. Yeah. Dana White was like, "What the fuck were those? What was that game plan?" I have no idea what happened.
Maybe he lost the mental game. Yeah.
I thought he was doing well with the mental game, but clearly, possibly, or maybe the pressure of the whole event got to him. Possibly.
I think so. Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's for the title, you know.
It's for the title, exactly.
If you're not psychologically ready, then yeah, you can completely shit the bed. You know,
a lot of pressure on him as well. It's not like, for instance, for Jan, Poland's already had one champion, Joanna, and he just kind of had to go out there and said, "Look, we've already had a champion." He looked very calm. We've already had a champion. I'm probably going to be the next male champion for Poland, and that's a big thing for us. For Brazilians, it's completely different, as we know. For Brazilians, we need champions every fucking year. You know, that period where they didn't have a champion and Davison won the belt, there was, you know, the media in Brazil, they're very harsh. Brazilians have to have champions. It's just how it is. So I think that pressure on his shoulders of being the second current Brazilian champion probably really got to him, in my opinion. But yeah, let's wrap this one up. 170, 185. We have got a 5-round main card coming up for Khamzat Chimaev in Vegas in around 4 or 5 weeks' time. He's supposedly fighting Stephen Thompson. Dana White has asked Stephen Thompson this. However, no official word has come in. If anyone knows anything, if anyone wants to leave any comments, please feel free to do so or has any opinions. But stay tuned. We are going to find out just how good he is very soon. And Andrew, anything you want to say in addition to that?
I think he's going to be brought down to earth. I'm not saying he's a hype job. I think he's got the makings of a very good fighter, but I think he's going to run into a brick wall pretty soon. And yeah, the hype train will be derailed.
Yeah. The problem with that is we don't know when, because we don't know who his opponent is. If we knew his opponent right now, we could probably say he may be, you know, getting quite badly beaten here or possibly being beaten. But because we don't know the opponent, it's difficult to say in the upcoming fight. But you're right, down the line, potentially could be brought down to earth, definitely. However, I'm on the hype train. I'm definitely on the hype train now. And we'll just see where this train ends up.
You do like a hype train.
I do enjoy a hype train. I do enjoy a hype train.
I don't like hype trains because I think it's disrespectful to all the decent fighters and the sport as a whole, and it annoys me.
Yeah.
It annoys me.
Yeah.
You love a hype train, you know.
Bisping and what's Bisping's guy that the comedian that he does his
Luis
podcast
Gomez.
with? I've forgotten his name now. Yeah, so you're basically Gomez and I'm Bisping.
Yeah,
that's how this works out.
Yeah,
Bisping loves a hype train, loves a story. Gomez brings him back down to earth.
Yeah. To be honest, I would love to see. Obviously, this kind of it informs my analysis of him, which is probably slightly biased because I do want him to lose. I would really love to see Khamzat get beaten badly. You know, sent to hospital, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about Izzy, to be honest. I would love for that to happen, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon with Izzy, unfortunately. Yeah.
Probably not.
I can't see him losing. Unless Jared Cannonier lands a lucky shot.
Cannonier is good, but I don't think he's good.
Cannonier's good. He's quite short, though, which is why I think Izzy will beat him quite convincingly. I believe he's 5'11" or just under 6 foot.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's normal size. For middleweight, that's okay. It's just Izzy's very tall.
Yeah, he's 6'4". That's the thing. I can't see anyone in that 15 beating Izzy. I know people are saying Darren Till has a shot. He fucking doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He doesn't. 100 fucking professional fights. Come on, let's be honest.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
Izzy's
basically a better version of Darren, a way better version of Darren Till.
Yes. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's some garbage in that middleweight division. I mean, Romero,
he could reign for a long time.
Yeah, I think so too.
He could reign until he gets bored and says, Jones 205, let's go.
I think so, yeah.
And that's when he'll lose, hopefully. He will. Jones will submit him. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But, okay. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. We're going to do some fighter picks for upcoming UFC cards. And, there's some seriously good cards coming up. The biggest one, obviously, is the Khabib Gaethje card on the 24th, which looks like the most stacked card of the year so far, or definitely up there, up top 3 stacked cards of the year. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. And if anyone wants to drop anything in about Khamzat or anything that you've heard, because it's all over the place at the moment, feel free to do so. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.